Portents of Fear is a horror fiction podcast which is intended for mature audiences. Discretion is advised. Welcome, Fearlings, to another weird and horrifying tale made just for you. I am your host, Michulhu, and I'll be your guide into the macabre and mysterious. In tonight's story, we learn about a group of friends rooting for each other in the waiting room. Before we get started, take a moment to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a single terrifying story. Randall walked through the copper door. The hinges trilled with a high pitch. Blood dripped on the floor. His breath was erratic. Across the room was another door that said Afterlife in gold lettering. He walked to the door, blood running down his neck, and turned the handle. Locked. After a moment of trying, he turned back and sat in the first row of plastic chairs. His shirt had gone from blue to purple. Must have hit the carotid artery, he thought. Randall never liked what the scale had to say. Many of his friends were in track, but he stopped going after 10th grade. Video game running was easier. His eyes looked like two bright blue marbles, and his chestnut hair was wavy. In the mirror as a teen, he'd see an average reflection, but he'd always been harder on himself than he should have been. He looked up at the wall in front of him. It had 70s wood paneling with a clock that reminded him of his school days. Time passed. After a while, he worried about his parents and little brother. How would they take it? Who would be at his funeral? Then the question every victim asks, why me? The door whined again, and Joanne walked in with a grievous chest wound. Long, raven black hair hung around a blood-spattered face. Her skin was eggshell white, and her eyes glowed like emeralds. Oh man, I thought a meat hook to the throat was bad. What'd he do to you? Joanne sat next to him, her ribs and heart exposed to the buzzing neon lights above. She'd known Randall for the past 2 years. They met in college. He'd invited her to be one of the camp counselors with the rest of his friends. At that moment, she wished she had stayed on campus. It happened fast. I was getting ready for bed, brushing my teeth in that tiny bathroom the cabins have, and I heard something. I looked out, no one was there, but the door was wide open. I thought it might be the wind, so I went over to close it, and this huge guy with a machete and a sack over his head attacked from the shadows. Before I knew it, he shoved the blade through my chest, sliced down, and forced my ribs apart. Then I died. Her voice wheezed with every word. It was clear that the attack had damaged her left lung. You survived to feel all that? He thought he had it bad. It did cross his mind how messed up it was that even after they died, their bodies showed their death wounds. Why couldn't he be poisoned? Every horrible second. How about you? She replied. She tried her best to bend in order to look him in the eye. I was in the kitchen with my headphones on, just zoning out and getting a snack. Anyway, I closed the refrigerator and there he was. I dropped my cookies and milk as the hook went through my throat. I can remember seeing him walk away, Randall said. Sorry, that sounds rough. The air conditioning kicked on and Joanne felt cool air hit her organs. It was strange. Nothing compared to what you went through. So, where do you think we are? He asked. Joanne scanned the 1970s-styled waiting room and the afterlife door. It felt like a jury room. She'd rather be on jury duty instead of whatever this was. I don't know, I'm guessing heaven's waiting room? Did you try opening the other door? She inquired. Yeah, it's locked. You'd think heaven could afford a better decorator for its waiting room. He jammed his hand in his pocket. He instinctively wanted to look down, but the hook made that very difficult. After fishing for a moment, he produced a vape. You know, those things will kill you, she smiled. They both started to laugh. You sound like a squeak toy, he replied. You sound like you got something caught in your throat. More laughter. If I was going to die, I'm glad it was with friends. Me too, though not dying would have been even better. The door sprung open and Will hopped into the room, his left leg under his arm like a package. He was tall, lean, and strong with closely shaved hair and patchy beard stubble. His skin was light brown and his eyes were hazel. Hey man, come take a load off, Randall directed. Will's face was pure annoyance. He hopped across the room and sat down. He sat next to Joanne and sighed. Sorry, I shouldn't joke. This all sucks. How'd he get you? Will gently propped his leg against a chair and took a deep breath. He was angry at himself. He could have gotten away if he'd just kept running. He attacked me near cabin 5. I heard this horrible sound. That was me, Joanne said. Yeah, I know. I found you. I started freaking out, crying, shaking. I'd never seen a dead body before. Even though we haven't known each other for very long, you seem really cool. He couldn't look at her chest wound, so he looked at his missing leg, which didn't help. Oh, thank you. I think you guys are cool too, though Samuel is a bit over the top, Joanne replied. She noticed Will was having trouble, so she gently put her hand on his shoulder. He looked up into her eyes. He has been his whole life, trust me. Sorry, lost my train of thought. This is overwhelming. Randall bent forward to get a better view of his friend. Will had moved to town in 8th grade from Buffalo. He'd been super shy, Randall recalled. It seemed like a million years ago in that moment. You were telling us how he got you, Randall reminded him. Oh yeah, thank you. I just found Joanne's body and this huge guy came out from the shadows and lunged at me. I dodged and ran as fast as I could. Once I thought I'd lost him, I leaned against a tree to catch my breath, and that's when he tasered me. I hit the ground like a ton of bricks. He walked over and knelt down, and I could hear him breathing heavily. After a moment, he stood, grabbed my leg, and chopped it off with one swing. I would have thought it was amazing if it wasn't happening to me. Luckily, I bled out fast because, man, it hurt like hell. Ironic thing is, I have a track scholarship. I run all the time. I could have made it to town and brought back the police. I failed you guys. I wouldn't say that, Randall reassured. Joanne agreed, and Will smiled. He was glad to have good friends with him at the end. The afterlife door opened, catching them all off guard. A towering man in red and black robes poked his head in. His skin looked like bleached parchment. Randall Roberts, the clerk asked. His one-note voice filled the room. Here, Randall raised his hand like a 5th grader. The clerk motioned to him. Please come with me. He politely directed the dead college student. Randall stood. I guess this is it. I wish we could talk more. I hope some of us survive. If anyone else shows up, tell them I love them, and I love you guys. We love you too, Randall. Maybe we can tell you when we're on the other side, Joanne offered. Yeah, who knows what's next, Will said. He felt his optimism reasserting itself. Joanne and Will got to their feet and hugged their friend for maybe the last time. Randall smiled. Hopefully. Bye, guys. As he walked to the threshold of eternity, the hook in his neck disappeared and the wound healed. Reaching the door, he turned and waved, then he was gone. The two sat in silence. The realization that they may have just lost a friend hit them. The world had made no sense to them while living. They were young and in many ways naive. But after dying, there were no clear answers, at least not yet. Finally, Will spoke. Do you think it's weird that there's a waiting room for the afterlife? Will wondered out loud. Yeah, it's weird. I guess they saw Beetlejuice and liked the idea. Can I ask you a question? I noticed we haven't talked to each other much. Why? Joanne asked. She's always been blunt. Her parents called her Bossy Betty, which she hated. Well, when Randall introduced you to us all, I'll admit, you intimidated me, he said reluctantly. What? Why? It's stupid, but I'd seen you around before and I thought you were, hot? Sorry. Then when Randall introduced us to you, I thought maybe he liked you, so I didn't want to say anything. I'm sorry, this is cringe. He blushed and looked away. Will was as smooth as gravel when it came to talking to women. Even with all his looks and charm, he never felt confident with the opposite sex. Glancing at the clock on the wall, he hoped the bell would ring like in high school so he could run away. Joanne also blushed. Her face turned a rosy red. Her heart started beating faster. Randall was just a friend. He was more into video games than girls from what I could tell. I wish you'd said something. I'll admit, I noticed you too. They looked into one another's eyes. He bent forward and gave Joanne a kiss. She let out a wheeze of satisfaction. My luck I'd meet a guy in the waiting room of eternity, she smiled. Yeah. Wonder what's beyond that door. If we do get to see each other, you want to go out? I'd like that. She took his hand. Her heart fluttered like a parakeet's wings. The thought of being with Will made the rest of her reality easier to deal with. I'm glad these wounds heal when we leave here, Will stated. Wait, you don't like women with exposed organs, she joked? No. I'm glad I know that I'll have 2 legs again and we can go dancing. That was smooth. She was right. He had been smooth. She made it really easy. They kissed again, this time for a bit longer. The door screeched open and 2 nude people walked in. Their bodies had severe burns all over. Most of their hair had fallen out, and their mouths, ears, noses, and eyes seeped blood. They smelled like charred meat. Joanne and Will stopped kissing and examined them. It took a second to parse out who they were looking at. Will hit on it first. Let me guess, you 2 were in the hot tub having sex, Will surmised. Once he realized it was Samuel and Ivy, he knew how it happened. The 2 had sex all the time and everywhere. Yeah, we just started when the radio was knocked into the tub. I guess I shouldn't have put it on the edge like that. Wait, why are you two here? Dear God, what happened to your leg and Joanne's chest? Your poor rack, it was perfect, Samuel bemoaned. Ivy slapped him upside the head. Can you not be 12 for like 5 minutes? We're dead, you moron. Read the situation for once, Ivy lectured. They both sat next to Will. Samuel hated hot dogs, and now he felt, looked, and smelled like one. He apologized to Joanne for being crass, and she filled them in on what was happening. You mean we were murdered? Well, at least it wasn't our fault. He looked at Ivy, who'd been quiet much longer than normal. You all right, Ivy? No, I'm not all right. I'm dead. Not only am I dead, but the cops will find me in a jacuzzi straddling you. Oh God, they're gonna have to separate us like pulled pork. Ivy, gross. You didn't have to put it that way, Joanne remarked. Yes, I did actually, Joanne. And Samuel, I'm angry. I've been cooked, and now I'm in a waiting room for some reason. Jesus, my dad thinks I'm a virgin. This might actually kill him, Ivy snapped. Ivy had her parents believing she was a good Jewish girl. She hid the tattoos she got after graduating and the fact that she was dating Samuel, who was not Jewish. She also washed her own clothes to make sure her mom didn't smell the pot she'd smoked, and she never drank so much that she wasn't in control. She just didn't want to get lectured all the time. Hey, I'm dead too. I didn't ask for this either. You don't need to get angry with me, Samuel protested. Their voices fell silent after that. The room felt like a deep-sea diving pod about to implode. One couple finding love too late, the other wished they'd stayed at the dorms. The afterlife door opened and the clerk appeared again. Samuel and Ivy couldn't help staring. Joanne Carlett, please come with me. Joanne looked at Will with sad eyes. It was one of those seconds that you try to stretch out forever, but it's gone in an instant. I'll try and find you, Will finally said. They kissed one last time and she stood up. The wound vanished when she arrived at the door. She turned one last time to her friends. I almost forgot. Randall wanted me to tell you all he loved you. Please pass the message on if anyone else comes through the door. Try and find us. I love you all too. We love you, Joanne. We'll try and find you, Ivy promised. Joanne left, whole again. Several moments went by in silence. Will felt the same strange feeling when Randall left. There were no words that felt right. Samuel had other ideas. Whoa, Will, I didn't know you two were banging. Sorry about the rack comment, my man. Will scowled at Samuel. He'd been the fun friend that didn't understand how to shut up sometimes. We're not. We just learned that we liked each other. Maybe try not to think about sex all the time, Will said. Why? Sex is the best thing in the world, especially if you find the right kind of slut to do it with. Am I right, Ivy? She slapped him again, this time with gusto. Stop being such a dick, she commanded. Ow, I was just messing around. God, you all need to relax, Samuel complained. He wasn't used to her being this way. She'd always joked, well, like him when they were living. He did find it odd that she never wanted to tell her parents about them. She turned to Will. I'm sorry, Will. As you know, Samuel is, well, Samuel, she said, her head pivoting to look her boyfriend in the eye. Oh, I know. When we were in kindergarten, he wasn't allowed to work with paste. Samuel had had enough. He was the life of the party and they knew it. He was the one that got the beer and knew the places to go. He kept them all going out and having fun. Screw you both. Will, that was like one time. And Ivy, I'm not a child. I was trying to lighten the mood, he reminded them. Again, we all just died horrible deaths, you putz, Ivy hissed. Ooh, Yiddish, Will remarked. It's a gift, she replied. Ivy's grandmother was a master of Yiddish and her role model. She swore and drank and didn't care what anyone thought. It drove Ivy's mom nuts. Can we please talk about something else, Samuel pouted. His head hurt, which seemed wrong since he was very dead. Yeah, sorry. We shouldn't pile on you. Let's talk about who's left. They looked at each other. Ivy jumped in first. Well, there's Noah, she offered. Oh, Mr. Bookworm, he's dead. Why did we even bring him, Samuel asked. If he had a polar opposite, it was Noah. Samuel never liked the guy, but for some reason, everyone always stuck up for him. In fact, he knew they would again in 3, 2, 1. I like Noah. He's always been very kind. The real question is, why did we bring you? And there it was, Samuel thought. Life of the party till you have something bad to say about a pipsqueak. I agree with Will. Why did we bring you is the real question. Whatever, Samuel replied. Will ignored Samuel's tantrum. Lucas and Amelia are out there too, Will added. Will, Samuel, and Lucas had all been on track together in both high school and college. Though in high school, Samuel got kicked off the team for showing up late to several meets. He'd been making out with Ivy in the parking lot beforehand. Lucas is an amazing athlete. I think he'll survive, Ivy predicted. She'd dated Lucas in 9th grade, but found him too reserved for her liking. And as if on cue, the door swung open and Lucas walked through, his head under his arm like a football. Or not, Ivy sighed. Lucas, my man, looks like you should have ducked, joked Samuel. The other two scowled at him. Yeah, I guess. I was helping Amelia get to her feet when the jerk came at me and chopped my head off. I'm gonna guess this is hell? Lucas looked around the room. He wasn't fazed by the state of his friends. His head was under his arm after all. He never understood how tall he was till the top of him had been lopped off. No, just the waiting room to the afterlife, Will remarked. The second door opened and Will got to his foot. And it looks like it's time for me to cross over. Lucas, sorry about your head. Randall and Joanne wanted me to tell you they loved you all. I love you all too. Sorry I was so hard on you, Samuel. Try to find us when you cross over. They all hugged and he headed to the door. Will hopped till his leg disappeared from under his arm and reappeared where it was supposed to be. He took one last look at his friends, waved, and was gone. Lucas sat, placing his head on the chair next to him. He could feel the coolness of the hard plastic. It was a relief knowing that his head would reattach soon. I'm guessing you two were having sex when he got you, Lucas said. He had always been the leader of the group. Great athlete, great grades, everyone wanted to be Lucas. But if asked, by the time they got to college, he'd grown tired of being the hubcap of the group. Yep, we didn't even get to finish, Ivy snipped. Not finishing hadn't bothered her till she said it. This feels like a damn Greek tragedy, Samuel lamented. The other two looked at each other and then back at Samuel. What do you know about Greek tragedies? Ivy asked, confident this was going to be good. I don't know. I just figured a guy with his head resting next to him and two naked people who were cooked in a jacuzzi in the afterlife waiting room sounds like one, Samuel said earnestly. You know, you're right, Ivy admitted. And with this recognition, all the stress of death seemed to fade. The three spoke, catching Lucas up on Randall, Joanne, and Will. Lucas in turn told them about how he found Will's body and saved Amelia in her cabin. The slasher had sabotaged the cars and the one rowboat on the lake where they ran into Noah, who'd been attacked as he headed to the restroom. The three were separated when they tried to take the main road out of the woods. Noah was pushed into a ditch, Amelia fell face first, and that's when Lucas tried to help her up. He could only imagine how horrifying it was for her to see his head fall to the ground. Okay, so that leaves Noah and Amelia. I hope they can escape, Lucas said as he finished updating them. I thought you were going to make it, so I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to curse anyone else, Ivy replied. They all thought that the door would open soon, but as time dragged on, hope took root. The three wondered what was happening to their friends in the land of the living. Finally, the door opened. A 7-foot-tall man dressed in overalls and a gunny sack with 2 holes for eyes over his head walked through the door. Cuts covered his body, and he had an arrow in his skull. All right, team, way to go, guys, Lucas rejoiced. He grabbed his head and hoisted it up into the air like a trophy. Samuel and Ivy clapped and hooted. The man in the mask stood next to the door, staring at them, his long blade still in his hand, dripping with their blood. What's he doing? Samuel asked nervously. Not sure, babe, Ivy replied. She moved closer to him. She thought death meant not being afraid anymore, but she was. Oh, now I'm babe again? Samuel asked. He felt like he had whiplash. Yeah, I love you, but don't push it. 2 minutes passed with the group of college kids and the slasher staring at each other. Then the door reopened behind him and he left. Damn it! They forgot to double tap, Lucas said. What? Everyone knows that rule, Samuel cried. Noah hates horror, and I doubt Amelia watches much herself. She's more into rom-coms, if I remember correctly. Lucas, how long did you two date? Ivy asked. I guess 2 years now? It's been great, but what? Samuel prodded. I was really into her, but she said she didn't want to have sex. It wasn't a religious thing. She just said she wasn't ready. I was fine with it. Anyway, on our way up, she told me she'd thought about it and wanted me to be her first. I had it all planned out. I'd take her to a nice dinner in town and go to a hotel for the night. I ordered flowers and everything, to make it special. It was going to be tomorrow night. Best laid plans, Lucas lamented. Sorry, man, but did you just say best laid plans? Samuel smiled. Ivy moved away again. Samuel, really? Knock it off. Lucas, that's sweet that you were going to make it special. Samuel, you should have taken notes from Lucas, Ivy remarked. Samuel rolled his eyes. He'd had about enough of Ivy acting like she was better than him. Stop pretending that you're any less of a slut than I am, Ivy. We've never been romantic. We like to bone, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just because I enjoy sex doesn't mean I don't also like a little romance now and again, you asshat. I would have loved to go dancing or walk along the beach, Ivy said. Samuel paused and thought about this for a second. They had been together a long time, but their whole relationship had been one-dimensional. I really didn't know that. I thought you were just like me, he admitted. No, I do enjoy sex, but I was with you because I love you. Do you understand that? I do. You're right. I'm sorry. But we have been in a rut if we're being honest. Maybe it's time to get to know each other again, Samuel said. The two kissed. Lucas looked away. He was happy for his friends, but they looked terrible. The afterlife door opened again. Ivy Breckton and Samuel froze. Please come with me, the clerk said. No, wait, we can't leave yet. We have to see if our friends survive, Samuel pleaded. Come on, you can give us a few more minutes. Heaven can wait, Ivy said. You really think we're going to heaven after the way we died? Samuel whispered. Neither of us finished, so it doesn't count, Ivy responded. The clerk rolled his eyes. Fine, I'll let you wait till this is resolved. He left. All three sat on their chairs waiting, hoping. Lucas took Ivy's hand, and in turn Ivy took Samuel's. The door slowly started to open. They held their breath, even though they didn't need to breathe anymore, and the slasher walked through the door with his hood gone and half his face missing. All three friends gave out a cheer. In your face, psycho, Lucas yelled. The figure walked to a seat in the back and sat. Sure, he'd been beaten this time. They'd bury his body, write it off as another deranged slasher, but at some point, he'd return. What a relief Noah and Amelia made it. I'll be honest, I didn't think they would. Glad I was wrong, Samuel admitted. Yeah, I hope they have great lives, Lucas said. The slasher from the back let out a chuckle and filled the room with his vile voice. They will. They'll get married. And in 15 years or so, I'll hunt their kids and the cycle will start all over. Your victory is going to be short-lived. The three ignored him. Ah, that's nice. I wish we could be at that wedding. At least they'll have each other, Ivy said. She took Samuel's hand. Yeah, I'm happy for them. Noah is a great guy. They'll take good care of each other. The afterlife door opened. All right, you two, it's time, the clerk said. He had a schedule to keep after all. That's us, buddy. Hopefully we'll see you on the other side, Samuel said. All three got up. Lucas's headless body hugged both of them. Me too, brother. I'll look for you all. Bye, Ivy. Bye, Lucas. Like the others, Samuel's and Ivy's wounds healed as they reached the door to the afterlife. Lucas waved at them. He'd seen both of them naked accidentally so many times, but this time was special. It was the way they'd want to be remembered, he thought. The door closed and he sat with his hand on his head, thinking. The slasher walked up. Mind if I sit? He asked, his mouth full of blood and loose teeth. Sure, it's a free waiting room. Would you like to know why I killed you? The slasher asked. No, not really, Lucas replied. What? Why not? My story matters too, and most people want to know. It gives them closure, I'm told. Who told you that? Your other victims? I don't think so. No, I don't want to know why you did it. Nothing that happened in your past justifies what you did tonight. You're just evil, a force of destruction. Your tragic backstory is just your way to avoid responsibility for your actions, Lucas replied bluntly. They both fell into silence. The afterlife door opened. Lucas von Meter, please come with me. He stood, picked up his head, and turned to the slasher. People only really matter if they bring good into the world somehow. You stopped mattering the second you took someone's life. Lucas walked out, leaving the slasher to sink further into self-pity. Never underestimate a nerd and a final girl. What's your favorite slasher film? Be sure to tell us in the comments. If you like this Portents of Fear tale, consider joining our Patreon. There's a link in the description below. Want more horrific stories? Click on one of our other episodes on your screen now. Good night, Fearlings. Sleep well, if you can.